Nancy Guthrie has been missing for 67 days now, and it's been a minute since I've done a video with some updates, and there have been some major updates here. And I found it very odd. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but on Monday, April 6th, Savannah Guthrie returned to work at NBC on the Today Show. Now, the same day, Harvey Levin from TMZ gets yet another ransom note. And let me be clear, I have never actually believed these ransom notes to be real. I know that Savannah said she believes them to be real, or, the conspiracy theorist in me kind of thought maybe the FBI was sort of telling her to play along. I don't know. But either they're not real or they are not actually connected to the kidnapping and vanishing of Nancy Guthrie, and it's somebody taking advantage. Now, Harvey Levin has come out and said that this person is now asking for something like half a Bitcoin to lead authorities to Nancy Guthrie's body. And they claim to know who is involved. Now, my thinking here is like, okay, no other tips seem to be coming in that we know of. No one seems to know anything here. And the case, even though they're going to tell us that it hasn't actually stalled, it seems to have stalled. So why not just pay this Bitcoin money? Why not just see where it leads? I mean, maybe they are and they're just not telling us, but there is something going on here. And I know that everybody thinks it's a joke. They're kind of saying, all right, here we go, Sheriff Harvey Levin. And I've also heard people say that Levin is blowing it out of proportion. I don't think any of us know the truth. What I will say additionally is when Savannah Guthrie did the interview with Hoda Kotb, she seemed to reveal a few more Easter eggs that we hadn't heard before, but it led me to believe that possibly police have told the family a little bit more, or there might be some video footage that we haven't seen, because Savannah knew that her mom was barefoot in her pajamas when she was led out the door or taken out the door. I think there's video footage that either investigators saw and told Savannah this, or maybe she saw herself. But again, that was the first that we had heard that. And look, I'm also going to say, I also say this, right? Law enforcement owes us as the public, they owe us nothing unless we are in imminent danger. Then maybe, just maybe, they'll tell us a little bit more, but still, they don't want to scare us. So it's not really on them to tell us every little detail. Something else I will say, there is a video going around on Tuesday, April 7th of Savannah Guthrie's brother-in-law, Tommaso, walking coming out of the back of Nancy Guthrie's home. Now, some people are saying, oh, he's moving in. Some people are saying it's so weird that, he's kind of changing his name. He wants to go by Tommy, apparently. And then others are just saying how weird it is that Savannah is the only one that seems to be talking outwardly in her family, that her sister Annie, who's married to Tommaso or Tommy, is not talking, and also her brother isn't talking. I don't see why any of that matters per se. I think that when something like this happens, a tragedy happens, I think generally the family designates one person to do most of the talking. However, unless you've been in that situation, I don't think it's fair to judge. I don't think it's fair for anyone to come down on the Guthries and say how weird it is that only Savannah's talking and how strange it is that, Tommaso was seen coming out of the house. I think that we should all sort of slow our roll there. If you saw that show on Peacock, All Her Faults, and I'm not going to go on too much of a tangent, but it really does kind of show you the inside of what goes on when someone in your family goes missing, and all of a sudden, the public turns on you. They're looking at your Facebook photos from 5 years ago that might, show you partying. And in this case, and all her fault, her kid goes missing. So it's like, they could show, or it could be me. They could show me partying from 5 years ago. Then all of a sudden, I'm this horrible mother, and I deserve to have my kid go missing. And it's like, wait a minute. I'm the victim here, or my family is the victim here. We are the victim of a crime. Do not turn on us. Do not make us the villains just because we are not acting the way that, the public believes we should be acting. So with that being said, I'm going to play just a quick clip of Savannah returning to the Today Show. This was Monday, April 6th. And again, lots of chirping from the peanut gallery. It's weird that she returned so quickly. It's, I get it. I understand. I think I would need something to do, need something to focus on. I personally thought that maybe she would never return because of this tragedy. But to be fair, I also thought that we would know a bit more about what happened to Nancy Guthrie, or possibly we would have found her at this point. I mean, like I said, it's been 67 days. So I'm going to play that clip very quickly. And then I'm going to go to a clip that Brian Enton did with Joe Giacalone, former NYPD sergeant that I've had on this channel numerous times, who has really been on this case. And he, as former law enforcement, has been very critical of law enforcement, specifically Sheriff Nanos. And as many of you know, or many of you don't know at this point, Nanos is pretty much under investigation. The Pima County investigators, or basically the board, they had a meeting and they were airing their grievances about this guy. And they're like, he needs to be investigated. He should not be in this position. He's got a very, very tarnished past. I mean, he almost basically killed, and I'm paraphrasing here, but basically he really, really hurt an inmate in cuffs at one point, to the point that this person could have died. He beat them so badly. And he makes a ridiculous amount of money. I mean, it is bad. He should not be in this position. And also, position. And also, in one of Savannah's more recent videos, she kind of just bypasses him and says, if you have information, you need to go to the FBI. Doesn't even mention Pima County. So again, let me just play this quick video of Savannah returning to the Today Show. Everybody is so excited.
Yeah. SG, come on out here.
I mean, the one thing I'll say about this video, and I believe I heard this from Megyn Kelly because she worked at NBC, and again, this is her opinion. She really believes that they're all backstabbers there, and they really don't like each other as much as they want us to believe that they like each other, like they're this one big family. So my one opinion on this, without getting, into attacking Savannah, is it does seem like NBC wants us to think they are one big happy family, and they are supporting Savannah and they are so happy to have her. And sure, maybe that's true. I will say, on the episode, there really wasn't any mention of Nancy Guthrie.
Good morning.
We've been waiting.
These signs are so beautiful. You guys have been so beautiful. I've received so many letters, so much kindness to me and my whole family. We feel it. We feel your prayers. So thank you so much.
It's not just today. They've been out here
Every day.
every day.
This is such
With
a nice
signs.
pocket square. I don't want to slobber on it. Okay, yeah, look at this. I know. I'm sorry.
How little is a million of them?
I mean, yeah. So they definitely, like I said, they want us to think they are one big happy family. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to go over to Joe and Brian Enton, to where Joe makes a really good point, and it's also very concerning. He brings up the fact that we now have $1 million plus that the family is offering, and there have been no, that we know of, credible tips.
Is really concerning, which means it could be a big part of the dark under.
Let me go back.
Asking them if they know anything about the case. Asking recently convicted prisoners as they're sitting in the cell for the first time in the first week. You know what? Maybe they do know something. Listen, you have to go to the sources where these guys hang out and these guys know one another, so to speak, and try to get information out of somebody. You know, this is a get out of jail free card. And like I said before, over $1 million and you haven't had a real tip that led you anywhere is really concerning, which means it could be a big part of the dark underworld that we don't know about just yet. And people have been keeping it quiet. But you know what? One thing I found in my career is that somebody who's been sitting in a cell says, you know what? I know something. I got to get out of here. And they can try to make a deal.
It's interesting you say that. One of my cop friends, and he's not even a detective, he's a street cop and he's a younger guy.
Okay, so clearly I played the wrong clip, but I also said it for you. What he said was interesting, right? They should be talking to recently convicted felons. They should be going into the jails, into the prisons, seeing if anyone's talking. Totally agree with that. But what he said previously was, you know, why haven't we seen a solid tip based on the fact that we've got $1 million plus as a reward? And I agree with that. That is very, very odd, which is why I'm like, just pay the Bitcoin. I mean, just pay it. Now, really quickly, just to end this, let me go over to this tab. Now, this is Tracy Walder, former FBI. She's a security contributor for News Nation, and she briefly just speaks for a minute about the TMZ ransom note and her thoughts on it.
Do you find the timing of these latest ransom notes to be intentional? The same day Savannah returned to work.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Marky. Yes, I absolutely find these to be intentional. This is a person that now, for almost, a month, 6 weeks, has waited to essentially put out another note. I think this is a person who sort of wants the fame, wants the discussion, and TMZ is giving them really exactly what they want.
The thing that really sticks out to me with all of these ransom notes, Tracy, is the Bitcoin ask, right? Like this latest one asked for half a Bitcoin. A full Bitcoin right now is worth $68,000. So they want 34 grand. I mean, the Guthrie family is good and willing to pay $1 million for anybody who has information that helps recover Nancy. If this person were innocent, why not come forward for that cash? That $1 million instead and help crack the case?
You're absolutely right, because as you know, the amount of Bitcoin has changed. I'm not surprised that they're using Bitcoin, Marky, or asking for Bitcoin as it's pseudo-anonymous, right? I think that is unfortunately the way that a lot of kidnappers, ransoms, those kinds of things, we've seen that a lot. So that's not surprising in and of itself, but this is what, $34,000. So the number has changed significantly from when that first ask came in.
Okay. So one thing I will say, if it is the same person or persons that emailed Harvey, they apparently had some kind of criminal past and they just didn't trust law enforcement to go directly to the FBI. So who knows? But that is my update for you all today. I will try to have another expert on soon, discuss this case and more updates. But hopefully, I did give some opinions. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and prayers to the Guthrie family. Where is Nancy Guthrie? My goodness.